Namaste and Jai Shri Krishna to all. Welcome to Path to Anandam Series 17, Power of Knowing Your Spiritual Growth. Pranam to Hariharji Maharaj for his blessings, guidance, and Bhagwan Krishna Bhagwan Ji, thank you very much for bringing us together this morning. I'm SatyaKalra, your host and founder of Path to Anandam. Just wanted to remind everyone that our session, all of these sessions are focused on how to experience our true being, how to realize, at the same time, how to enhance the quality of our life, find the solutions to our daily problems, and follow the righteousness in life, which is dharma. And what we get, healthy body, peaceful mind, abundance, and everlasting peace and happiness, which is our true nature, Satchit Anand. So we know the purpose of our life through answering all these questions, through all these sessions. And the process is self-purification, transformation, and self-improvement. And we, through our spiritual practices and meditation. And the resources for us is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, and Guruji's blessing and his guidance, where he says, Gita is the answer to all those seeking enlightenment on the various problems of life. And then, of course, meditation. So our session is basically the evaluation of all the sessions we have been conducting here. We have been together, spending time. But sometimes we need to evaluate that how these spiritual practices are helping us. Are we following it? Are we benefiting it? And what are the ones which we are practicing? Which we have done many, as today's Series 17 of new series, where we started with better of me, complete of me, infinite of me, best of the best of me. But how can we reach there? By many practices, like we started with samvad, how we should learn how to speak, how to listen, how to do our effort, yatnas, and many things we have learned in every session. So we just wanted to evaluate that, are we really following those and how they are helping us? So again, the content I prepared, this is a little bit long list, but to really summarize it, and a power of self-evaluation of our spiritual growth. So what is spiritual power? And what is the growth we are talking about? What are the stages which I continuously speak about? The stages of this spiritual journey. And what are the barriers? What stops us to go through those spiritual growths? Sometimes we are on the good path, but sometimes we go one step backward, two steps backward. What are those? And how to overcome those? What are the benefits and the science, what science, medical science speaks about based on the facts? And what are the signs of our spiritual growth? What are those divine qualities we have developed? And how can we measure it? How can we reflect upon it? How do we know those practices are helping for us? And then our sankalpa, I unlock my spiritual growth. I continue on this journey. And then homework, the tip of the day, and meditation. I activate my spiritual power. So what is spiritual power? Our inner strength, that invisible force that comes from the connecting with the supreme power. We can call it God, higher self, that divine source, which enables us to think clearly, have love and compassion, resilience, and know the purpose of life. And we live without that supreme power, that invisible force, that inner strength. We are dead. Divine Shakti. We become Shav. So from Shiv to Shav. And then we lead, this energy help us to lead healthy, happy, and peaceful life. And the secret here is a connection with that supreme power. And then what is the spiritual growth we are discussing here? The ongoing process of inner transformation through self-awareness, purification of the mind, and cultivation of divine qualities, leading to higher consciousness and inner peace. In other words, growth in awareness of who am I. And then a progress, every day's progress leading toward our, giving us more peace and more toward the purpose of our life. And then, of course, again, alignment, the connection with supreme consciousness. So spiritual journey for transforming the mind and rewriting the self is the spiritual growth. We want to focus on it because this is all about the self-transformation, where Bhagavad Gita says, Udher Atma Atmanev, na Atmanev Vasadev. Atmanev hi Atmano Bandhu. Atmanev Ripur Atma means one who lifts himself by himself and not degrade himself. That self alone is the friend. Bandhur Atma Atmanasya. Yen Atmanev Atmanajit. The one who has become the master of the enemy, which is within us, which sidetracks us, which align our mind into proper direction toward the purpose of our life. That is our friend. So focus is to transformation, self-improvement. So as I mentioned before, we have discussed many things. And these basically we are speaking about sign of spiritual growth. So inner peace increases. We all feel that. And with these practices, we feel calm. But what happens when some challenges come? Are we still calm? If somebody hurts us, are we kind to that person? Do we forgive? Are we attached to many things? Still are attached to, our attachment is overtaking us, like it when we used to be very young or when we were not practicing? Or are we still very, very egoistic? Do we work and let go, considering it's a God's Leela? and practice the karmanya vadika raste ma phaleshu kadachan ma karm phalhetu bhur mate sangostru karmani. Means we are not lazy. We continue to work, but leave the outcome as it's Prabhu's Leela on supreme power. Are we neutral, or are we very positive, sometimes very negative? Do we practice gratitude? Are we more aware of our shortcomings? Are we living in awareness, or are we living in behoshi? Are we very, and that is very important. Are we without judgment? Because we still have a tendency to judge others. If something goes wrong, we says it's their karmas, they did this, they deserve it, all kind of judgment. Do we still have it? Or when somebody hurts it, do we pray to God to help them to get out of that, whatever is bothering them? Because sometimes people are, something else is bothering them, and they kind of pour their frustration on another person or on us. So we have to be very discreet about that. And it always reminds me one example, which was such a beautiful, I still remember. And not only that, I use it. You know, my father was a very spiritual person. And he would quietly sit, my mother would serve him the food. And when my father would finish the food, and when he leave, my mother would go in the dining room and pick up the plate from the dining table. And then she would make the comment that today the plate is little bit in the different location. Or while my father was eating, his hands were moving differently. It means there is something is not right with him. Something is bothering him. So she was so observant. So sometimes, these things happen, to others, and then she used to just kind of align that maybe I serve him a little bit more, I do something better, or some try to bring him to that normal situation or normal mood or calmness. So I always remember that how not just to observe ourselves, why I am thinking that way, why I am behaving that way, but also with our near and dear ones. So this is how we help others to grow, not basically mentioning or judging them or pinpointing them, but kindly or silently we help others. So they become more caring and sharing. And desires for solitude and silence, those desires are not just the worldly desires, but we seek for moving to higher self, and then serving and serve, feeling joyful. That gives us the feeling of serving others, like doing our karma yoga. And we are automatically drawn toward the higher education. Where I say higher education does not mean higher education means more scriptures, reading scriptures, learning from others, listening to discourses. And so these are the signs of spirituality. And then one experiences the unity, feeling connected with all beings, not just with God, but also with others. As they see the God in all, like yo mam pashati sarvatra sarvatra mam pashati. So they just see God in themselves, in others, and then God promises that I am always with those people, because then they merge, they are so together, there is no separation. So the question comes here, which sign or is or are most visible in your life? Which one we think it dominates us, which we practice more, which we feel more? Has our fear reduced? Has our anxiety reduced? Do we trust more God? Do we have more faith in God? All these qualities, which we have discussed many times. But again, this is a time to evaluate, where am I? But simply, if we have to just know how spirituality evolves or how it has been involved me, so I can compare myself, a spiritual aware person versus the non-aware person or unaware person. The aware person, the spiritually aware person, responds with very calmness. They're not impulsive. They are very calm, not like somebody says and they become very reactive and respond immediately. But they listen to it. They calmly think about it. And they seek inner solution, not all the time running around. They can go into deep meditation, pick up Bhagavad Gita, whatever. They look at for the solutions there, rather than going and blaming others for any other situations. And they practice the self-reflection. In other words, if anything goes wrong, they always think about themselves, what could be wrong? Or how could I do it better? How can I improve more and more? So their focus is more on themselves, self-improvement, not blaming others. And also, they unaware people, they kind of are afraid of introspection. They think that maybe, I remember many years ago, I think it's almost 35 years ago, I went to one of the retreat, and in one of the teacher over said that we are responsible for all of our actions, and action versus reaction. And that's the first time I heard that phrase. And then she says, we should look into it, that how do I react? And I thought, what is that? Because I always do the best. I always react properly. I thought I was a foolproof, perfect person. But at that time, when that was an eye-opener for me, and I started doing the introspection, and that's where I found out that how many things I need to improve in myself. So introspection is very, very important. And then self-aware person feels more love, peace, anandam, and connection to all. But the unaware person feels very isolated, very lonely, very restless. And they don't listen to others. They always argue. They are more like lazy or doing the work, but not focusing on it. They don't know the purpose of their life, where the spiritual aware person knows that every action needs to be led toward the purpose of life. They speak, they respect others, and they are involved with the samvad, not vivad. So the question again comes, how spiritually evolved are you? So again, how spiritually evolved I am? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. So then there are different levels of spiritual growth. So what are those three levels? Again, I put it here, though I always speak about it, but self-purification, transformation, and realization. But self-purification is more like purifying our subconscious mind through many different actions. Karma yoga, which is external, which cleanses our negativity. We usually go to temples, go to gurus, read scriptures, and all kind of things we do. But they're more like karma kand, which is called karma kand in scriptures. And then we more are toward bhakti. And by doing the self-purification, little by little, we transform and we start getting the knowledge, also wisdom, and we develop the love and compassion toward others. In other words, then we develop the divine qualities. And through spiritual practices, like we start loving, more forgiving, as I mentioned, those we develop those characteristics, hallmarks of divine people. But here is a one danger. I put it here as the ego. What happens when we are on this path? Many times we think now we know more than others. We are better than other people. I know more Bhagavad Gita's verses. I know I do meditation. And I am affiliated with that gurus, and I can teach, I can talk about it. All these kind of things come, and that's where our ego kicks in. It is called the spiritual ego, the ego of knowing the spirituality. And then we start finding the faults in other people, other people's spiritual practices, that my meditation is better than others, my style is better, my practices are better. So this is the big warning. When we are on this path, this is where the ego could sidetrack us. And it comes automatically, but we have to be really aware of it. And that's where the self-awareness is very, very important. And that's why I put path to Anandam, spiritual growth journey has 3 stages. Start with self-awareness. And then self-realization, that wisdom, gyan within. And if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, how Bhagavad Gita has been, first 6 chapters are more focused on karma yoga, how to do your dharma with love and compassion for benefit of all, like sarva bhuti terata. Then the bhakti yoga comes. And Bhagwanji says, I give the buddhi yoga to those people with doing more devotional services, put their love and compassion in everything they do. They develop divine qualities. Then they start experiencing, getting the wisdom within. Because in Bhagavad Gita also says that by doing karma yoga, you automatically get that wisdom within in due course of time. And you experience the ultimate wisdom, Satchit Anand. So these 3 paths, basically it's a Shakti, Bhakti, Mukti, and Yukti, where one first gets the courage to do these things, develops the love, bhakti, and then comes the mukti. You do the Jivan Mukti, where it says we are doing the things without attachment. And then the ultimate union with God, that yoga comes, and we experience who I am. So again, barriers to spiritual growth. These are the hindrance, distractions, and busyness. Sometimes we say, I don't have time to do these practices, but practicing and the spiritual life is not that dependent on the time. It's a lifestyle with every breath, every action. Arpan to Supreme Power, surrender to Supreme Power, do it for others. And then when we are not aware of it, lack of awareness that my ego is playing a game, my attachment is playing a game. So that sometimes we don't have discipline, guidance, and then again, calm, krodh, lo, moh, ankar comes, where in Bhagavad Gita again, my favorite verse is Dhyayato Vishyan Punsa, with not paying the attention, not living in awareness, but thinking about worldly things, then greed and anger, attachment, all that comes. So that's where also again it says we have to not be slave of काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, अहंकार. And then many negative influences, sometimes with the company, sometimes with the surroundings, and our negative attitude and fear of many things and physical problems. All these are the barriers. So how to harness the power of spiritual growth? अभ्यास योगेन ततो मामी इच्छप्तुम धनंजय नित्य आत्मा चिंतित एना युक्तो योगी परम गतिम. So Chitananana means with constant practice, abhyas yogain, constant practice, with full connection to supreme power, nitya tatma or nitya yukta, and a discipline of mind and yogi who is devoted to me attains the supreme goal. Yukta yogi, that's the person. So the practice, practice, practice. And again, these are the practices which we all talk about it, but in summary, again, awareness, 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 and then analysis, and then action for correction. So again, I mentioned before these, but these are all more mindfulness, meditation, faith, not fear, respectful to others, expressing gratitude, smile, samvad, forgiveness. All these qualities lead us there. And this is how we can evaluate ourselves, where I am. And the benefits are so unlimited, infinite benefits. And also science supports it, that it improves our wellness, our body, mind, soul. It reduces our stress, anxiety. It increases our heart health, longevity, and also in day-to-day life, better relationships. And spiritually, we have the greater purpose of our life. Again, it is going back to those signs. And those signs, we develop those signs, which I discussed previously. It reduces our ego. It promotes the unity. In other words, it takes us to more toward the oneness with others and ourselves. And then we feel more peace within and share with others. And it helps us to increase our endurance, our inner strength. That's why Shakti, Bhakti, Mukti, Yukti. But all this because Devi Sampad Vimokshaya, all those qualities which we develop during this spiritual process takes us ultimately to the moksha, liberation. That is the highest goal and highest benefit. And it makes us a better and better human being. So it's not just that we just wait for the end when we die, but no, while we are living, we feel good about ourselves. And we here again, it's a summary where how these are the barriers, these are the how to do it, what are the benefits which we just mentioned, but practices Srimad Bhagavad Gita's teachings, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, all is included in that one. But the key is live in self-awareness. And you can see all these practices lead to who am I? Finally realize I am Satchit Anand. So our practices activate your spiritual power with practice, self-awareness, self-analysis and efforts. And again, Abhyas Yogen Tato Mamechati Dhananjaya. With constant practice and devotion and self-discipline, yogi or one can reach me. So here are all these practices for self-transformation. Start our day with our mantra, reading scriptures, whatever resonates with us, and then take care of our body, mind through meditation and prayers, and practice yogas, all these practices which we talked about. See good, think good, do good, hear good, and then share with everybody. But don't forget to do the meditation, because it's all these are step by step, takes us toward our higher self. So these practices, but if I have to do only one practice, that practice of evaluation, just one at a time. But we should evaluate, how am I doing it? And then self-purification, transformation automatically comes. And then we harness the love, peace, anandam with this spiritual growth. But at the end of the day, we should let go. And our sankalpa. I recognize my spiritual growth. I am aware of my spirituality and my spiritual growth. So our homework, how to know the status of your spiritual growth or my spiritual growth. Continuously asking these questions, self-inquiry, self-inquiry, self-inquiry. Do I know the purpose of my life? What are the barriers which are stopping me or sidetracking me or moving me backward? All those 5+2 enemies, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, desires, anger, attachments, greed, ego, jealousy, resentment. Am I more forgiving, patient, fearless, or calm? Am I more courageous, loving, compassionate? And do I do my spiritual practices regularly? Do I feel an inner connection with supreme power? So know your spiritual growth and empower your life and beyond. Because as we become Sakshi, then our favorite one, arise, awake, stop, not, until you reach your destination. So thank you very much for attending the session, Power of Knowing Your Spiritual Growth, Spiritual Journey, and experiencing love, peace, ananda. So thank you very much.